Hi, Spurs. It's Sincere Myda here, talking about eclipse season. We're just going to talk today about how to get through eclipse season, what it's all about, and we're going to help you navigate through it through some sound, through some energy work, and through some discussion like we normally do, and some imagery as well. I'm Sincere from Suncear Wellness. There's Myda. Oh, actually, it's this way, I think. There's Myda from the Shared Edge. And together we're Edge of the Sun, and we do retreats, and we're doing one in Bali in July. Go to theedgeofthesun.com to get more information. I just want to get the plug out the way first, y'all. Uh, so, anywho, eclipse season. So we just came off of an eclipse that happened on the 25th of March, and it was in a lunar eclipse actually, and it was in Libra. And we're moving into, I should say, on April 8th, there'll be a solar eclipse that is happening, um, and it's a very powerful one. It's happening in Aries, and it's a really powerful one because this is one that a lot of astrologers have been predicting is going to be a major day. I was telling Mida this earlier. I actually don't think there's going to be anything that happens on that day because too many people are talking about it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like somebody says a specific day and then it ends up being just a big flop. So I don't think anything's going to happen, but there is a eclipse that is covering over the United States. And the last solar eclipse, if I'm not mistaken, also covered the other side of the United States. So it's creating an X there. So I think that's why people are saying that this is a major, or is one of the reasons why it's a major eclipse for us. Um, it's also in the sign of Aries. I think I said that already. So there's this energy of Libra Aries axis going on, right? So when you have a lunar eclipse, it is usually, well, it is about a full moon. And the full moon has to do with releasing, letting things go that are no longer serving us. And then you have the solar eclipse, which occurs during a new moon. And that's about setting intentions and new beginnings. So we're in the middle of it now. And we're just in this energy of, transition, because that's pretty much what eclipse season brings about. It brings about these potentially unwanted changes, but there are changes that are happening in our lives, and we are here to just navigate through them. It's providing us an illumination, because when you think about eclipses, they're all aligning. So it's kind of like the earth, the sun, and the moon are aligning in a certain way. And it's bringing about an illumination to our path. It's bringing about a way for us to change. It's a time for us to go within and figure out what's working, what's not working. It's a past, present, and future thing. What is it that's not working in our present? We need to leave it behind, and how do we move forward in a new way? And again, it's things that are happening without you even trying, because that's what eclipse do. They have this transformational shake up energy that's going on. There are people who might be thinking about moving, for example. So with Libra, you might be thinking about, okay, are there some relationships that I desire that I don't have right now? Or do I need to let some people go? Do I need to let this person, go in my life because it's not serving me right now? They're bringing me down. This is also a time for us to think about our identities and our authenticity, because that's very much an Aries thing. And just figuring out, okay, do we need to leave these relationships behind in order to be our most authentic selves? That's another thing. So, or maybe we need to leave things behind that aren't giving us peace. Maybe with Aries, there's this energy of courage. So it's bringing about, like, where's the courage for us to move through this energy? And again, there's an element of darkness here as well, obviously, because eclipse bring about, a darkness. So it's a time for us to just get quiet and just listen to what our guides are telling us. What is our intuition telling us? Because there are things, everybody has things in their lives that aren't working. There's got to be, everything can't be working all the time. So there's got to be something in your life that you are desiring, or something in your life that you are supposed to be doing and you're not doing, like a destiny type of thing. Just allowing that to come into the light, or just allowing yourself to listen to what your body, what your guides, what the universe is trying to tell you about where you need to go at this time. So that's pretty much, I mean, there's a lot to eclipses. I don't want to take up too much time. I'm just trying to be succinct here. There's also a conjunction with Chiron in the North Node. So it really is about moving into a destiny and also about healing from past pains. So just take this time in between these two eclipses, and just really listen and learn about where you where you're being guided, and just allow it to happen. So that's my thoughts on eclipse season there. And so I don't know if Mida wants to add to that, or we can just dive right into our meditation, exploring that a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll dive in. I mean, it's definitely hard work to listen to your guides, even when all signs are pointing you in that direction. You're like, but I don't want to go that way. So,
Exactly.
so we'll explore that a little bit to see what comes up.
Ooh.
So, if you're new to our sessions, we just pretty much as it goes, talk a little bit about what's happening astrologically, and then we'll take about 8 minutes to just sit and listen to the sounds of the singing bowls. Suncear will be administering long distance Reiki. So whether you're listening to this as a recording, or actually we'll all be recording because this is not live. So you'll still feel all the vibes, both from the Reiki and from the sound, and hopefully your own guidance. So if you have headphones, great. If not, that's okay too. Vibrations will still move through the way they need to. And I would recommend, especially for this one, because it is sort of that tumultuous time of eclipse season, do make sure that if you are listening to this, that you are in a fairly kind of, you feel like you're safe in your environment, like you're not at work and there's like someone that's going to pop in and sort of like wake you up out of your space. So, if you need to come back to this meditation at a later time when you can feel like, okay, settled, where you really can start to dive more deeply in, it can get murky and dark in there. And so you want to make sure that you feel pretty safe in your environment, both spatially and physically. So true all the time, but I think more so these days when everything's a little bit tender. So whenever you're ready, just close your eyes. Take a few clearing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just settling into that deeper space of listening. The interesting thing about the darkness that arises out of an eclipse is that there's still light behind it. So you're not in total darkness or total shadow or total light. You might see sort of moments of brightness, moments of darkness. And rather than grasping onto any particular part of your experience, of course it's natural to seek the light and avoid the dark. But one can't exist without the other. So rather than grasping, just simply let yourself explore. With that obscured light, we're forced to bring awareness to our other senses of listening, of touching, smelling, tasting. So just allowing yourself to drop into whatever is your current state. That can be physical or emotional or mental. is a particular snag in your physical or mental or emotional body. Maybe you just spend a little time there. How is it aligning in your life or not aligning? How is it aligning or not aligning in the bigger version of your life? So sometimes when we're stuck, just giving ourselves a bigger perspective to see all sides. See different pathways out of the stuckness. And in this time of eclipse, you don't have to make any decisions right away. Take any big action. It's uncomfortable to be in a feeling of stuckness or transition or the unknown. So whenever you feel a little overwhelmed, find a deeper breath. Go a little bit deeper within and just listen and wait for the guidance. That will definitely show you the way in time. Just as surely as the shadow will pass. Unblocking the sun or the moon's light, where everything can then become a little bit clearer and more focused. Take a deep breath in through the nose and a long, slow sigh out through the mouth. Really squeezing all the breath out. And just let yourself linger for a moment in that emptiness, that hollowness, until you can't hold it any longer and you just immediately get inflated with breath once again. Feeling the lightness and the upliftment of the breath, even when everything feels empty or dark, trusting in the natural rhythms of life in all its forms, including you. And whenever you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. And Suncear usually shares, she has some visions and images that pop up during our session, and so she'll share those. And we're always welcome to hear any of your experience as well if you'd like to share yours. Suncear, what you got?
It's amazing how 5 minutes of meditation can really shift. Not that I was, frazzled or anything, but I mean, it's a little bit, but it's just interesting how like calm I feel right
It's
now.
true, right? I always realize it. I mean, and I do it a bit, but then I'm always surprised each time. Like, wow, this really does work.
All it takes is 5 minutes,
It really
just
does.
it's so funny. So can I tell you, this was actually, I almost started laughing. I almost started
I
laughing.
saw that.
You did. I was, I don't think anyone's paying any attention to me, but that's funny because I'm sorry. There were just a couple of funny things that came up. So, Bigfoot came up, right? And I was like, what in the world was that? And then I had to ask, whenever there's something comes up, I always ask what's going on. And then it occurred to me that it was about the exploration, right? You know how these people go on these whole expeditions to go find Bigfoot and all that stuff, it was about finding this scary creature and having the courage to go off and find something that's unknown. I personally do believe that there's Sasquatches out there. I believe there's all kinds of cryptids out there, actually. But I think that the principle of it is that people mostly don't believe that it exists, but it's this very scary thing, and they're not afraid to go out and look for it. That's what it felt like to me. And then the other
I
funny
have a
thing.
little funny thing to share with you about Bigfoot too. I
Okay.
can do it afterwards. I can do it afterwards if you want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Or
So then the other funny thing was the Hulk, and this is why I laugh because the two of them together was just funny to me. So the Hulk. So you remember the original Hulk in the 70s, and it
Mhm.
was David Banner. Okay, this like really mild-mannered man. I think that was even the way they introduced him. You don't want to make him angry. David Banner, the mild manner. So he always ended the show by walking down this lonely road with his backpack, right? So I saw him doing that, and don't ask me why it made me laugh. I don't know, because then it made me realize I was like, oh, the Hulk, and it was about getting. Okay, so he's walking down this path because I saw the path first, and then I mentioned a path when I was talking about the eclipses, illuminating the path. There was a like the North Star was up ahead, and he was just walking along this path. And I also think it's about getting angry. I don't know. I think that we need to get angry at some point because, again, this is in Aries. This is happening, and Aries is ruled by Mars. And, this can be an energy of fighting for yourself, speaking up for yourself. So, yeah, for whatever reason, I thought that was just funny to see those two things, like mystical or, mythical things. Not even mythical, just made up.
I have a thing about that one too, which is very weird, but
Oh
I can do
wow.
it later.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Maybe I'm like really emitting a lot of energy. I'm like, I need guidance, please. Talk to Suncear, she'll tell me.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I can't wait to hear it. Okay, so on the nicer stuff that was coming up, there was Ganesha was actually the first thing I saw as soon as my hands went up. I saw Lord Ganesha removing the obstacles. Then we have Tiger came up. So tigers are about personal power. I mean, I just felt there was so much power going on in this session. Crocodile. The crocodile has a lot to do with the sacral chakra. I don't right off remember exactly what crocodiles can mean. They can mean various things to various people, but you can look up crocodile spiritual meaning to find out more. But I know it's related to the sacral chakra. And I didn't correlate any of this to the sacral chakra until you said the bowl. You said the empty bowl or something like that. And I always think of the pelvic bowl as being, it being like a bowl there, that sort of hip area. And I was
These
like,
bowls
oh,
also are actually sacral chakra.
oh, are they? Oh, wow. Wow.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, we have such a connected sesh today. Not that we don't always, but wow, like super connected. Yeah, you said something about hollow. Yeah, and it made me think about, oh yeah, pelvic bowl, sacral chakra. There's a lot of emotions that get stuck in the sacral. Maida and I just did a really great class actually on the sacral chakra, manifesting with the chakras. We just did it, and I talked about that, about how emotions get stuck in that area. And there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of anger that a lot of times, especially women, don't express. So I think the Hulk and all these other things here are saying, the tiger are saying it's time to let all of this stuff out. And then lastly, I just saw a bike which represented to me freedom. So I know that was kind of the random one of the bunch, but yeah, so that's what I saw. So please do tell.
Oh, do you want to do it here? Like, publicly.
I
Okay. No,
oh,
well, so it's interesting. So the two things, when you said Bigfoot, I associate more like I have a little personal connection with Yeti more specifically, you remember the Bugs Bunny episode where Daffy is like traveling through, he like, I don't know why he was burrowing too, but like he was traveling through the tundra and he pops up. And then there's that giant Yeti that's like, oh, little bunny rabbit, I'm going to take him and love him and squeeze him. We'll call him George. Remember that? Remember that? Yeah. So I had a really weird meditation one day where I was like really struggling. I was like, I need to find God, or like I wanted to have some kind of divine connection. And I was like, ah. And then literally I felt like this giant Yeti, like it was cartoon form, scoop me up and was like, don't worry, I have you. I will love you and pet you. It's okay. I've got you. And I was like, oh, okay.
oh,
God is a Yeti cartoon. But that's why whenever I think of Bigfoot, I always think of that, which is really interesting. And then just the other thing was like when you said the Hulk, because back in my yoga teacher training, they would always call me the Hulk because I wouldn't be like the gentle yoga. I'd be like, come on, like helping someone in the handstand and like literally pick them up. They're like, dude, you can just like not have to be so intense. So I was named the Hulk in yoga. So it's just kind of funny those first two things that you mentioned. I was like, oh,
oh wow. I
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
Well, those are two things I would never associate with you too. So that's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. But it's funny too because it really I do feel that force, but it's much more like quiet, like when I sort of like have it towards the outside, but it's definitely inside where you're like "Grr!" So, yeah.
It's maybe this is a time it's coming out, just
Uh-oh, watch out world.
I know, look out for you on April 8th.
Just gonna be in like one of those like rage cages by myself just in case. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if any of these images meant anything to any of you, please, just let us know. They always mean different things to different people. So,
Mm-hmm.
and speaking of our manifestation class, we have our last one, which is happening. I know I told everybody in the class the 18th. It's actually the 25th. Oops. But yeah, it's the
The
25th.
last Thursday in April or the third Thursday. That would be
It's
the
it's supposed to be the third Thursday, but for whatever reason, we had it at the 25th. So that's, yeah. I think that's why I went with the 18th originally, but
right, right.
so yeah, so we're doing that class. It's our last one. It's on the root chakra, and this is really going to be digging deep, get it root, digging deep. And that's one of the hardest chakras to get through because it's just so dense. There's a lot that we have accumulated, especially as children, a lot of conditioning that happens there. So anywho, that's it on our end. If anyone has anything they'd like to share, by all means, reach out to us. You can DM us. You can also find us again on theedgeofthesun.com to find out more about our retreats and classes. And also, if you're interested in exploring more modalities, you can also check out the Make a Brooklyn website to see what other practitioners have to offer. Okay, that's all. Happy eclipse season, everybody.
Good luck everyone. Thank you.